Hello, this is Dr. Annette Moultrie, and this is part one of chapter three. Part one of chapter three, which deals with process costing. The learning objectives are describe the flow of costs through a process costing system, calculate equivalent units of production for direct materials and conversion costs. 3, prepare a production cost report for the first department using the weighted average method. 4, prepare a production cost report for subsequent departments using the weighted average method. 5, prepare journal entries for a process costing system. 6, use a production cost report to make decisions. And 7, prepare a production cost report using the first in, first out method. So in this video, we will discuss Learning Objective 3.1. Describe the flow of costs through a process costing system. How do costs flow through a process costing system? Job order costing is an accounting system that tracks costs for each specific job or project. It is commonly used by companies that produce unique products or offer specialized services. On the other hand, some companies use a process costing system which tracks costs by production process. And a process is nothing more than a one step in a sequence of manufacturing activities. The process costing system is used by companies that produce identical units through a continuous and uniform series of production steps. Now, both job order and process costing systems, they track product costs, which are direct materials, direct labor, and manufacturing overhead through 3 inventory accounts on the balance sheet. They are the raw materials inventory, work in process inventory, and finished goods inventory. Now, the key differences between job order costing and process costing, it lies in how and when costs are recorded in the work in process inventory account. In job order costing, there is a single work in process inventory account that's supported by a subsidiary ledger that contains detailed cost records for each individual job. Costs are moved to the finished goods inventory once a job is completed. In contrast, process costing uses multiple work in process inventory accounts with a separate account for each stage of the production process or each department. Now, they're recorded in the appropriate work in process inventory account as the product moves through each production phase, and they are transferred to finished goods inventory when all processes are complete. Here you see in Exhibit 3.1 is the job order costing versus the process costing. Here on the screen, you'll see the job order costing system. The product type, you have batches of unique products or specialized services. Whereas in the process costing system, you have similar or identical products manufactured through a series of uniform steps or processes. Job order costing system, they're customized, whereas process costing system, they're repetitive. You have low volume in job order costing. You have high volume in process costing. In job order, you have one general ledger account with a subsidiary ledger containing individual job cost records, whereas in the process costing system, you have separate general ledger accounts for each process or department. Those are just a few examples. Here you see in Exhibit 3.2, it illustrates the manufacturing operations of Puzzle Masters, which is a fictional company that produces custom jigsaw puzzles. Okay. So Puzzle Masters divides its production into two key processes. You have your printing and then cutting, okay? So in the printing department, the company applies adhesive to a sturdy cardboard backing and then presses a custom image onto it. So once this process is complete, the product moves to the next department, which is the cutting department, where the cardboard is precisely cut into puzzle pieces and packaged into boxes. The finished puzzle boxes are then transferred to storage and they're ready for sale. Now, throughout these processes, production costs accumulate and they are assigned to the puzzles as they progress through each department. Now, each department at the company tracks costs separately, okay? Each department, because with the printing department, they handle the initial assembly and the cutting department manages the final product preparation. So the company uses a process costing system to allocate costs across both stages of production. Again, you have the printing process where you have the direct materials, which consists of cardboard, printed image, and then glue. You have the direct labor, and you have the manufacturing overhead. So in the direct labor, workers are responsible for operating the printing and the pressing machines. And in the manufacturing overhead, machines, maintenance, and depreciation of the printing process. Now, this is in the printing process, okay? The printing process. And once the printing process is complete, the partially finished puzzles are transferred to the next stage, which is the cutting process. In the cutting process, you have the direct materials, direct labor, and then you have manufacturing overhead. Now, the direct materials, you have the puzzle box and the packaging materials. In direct labor, you have the workers operating the cutting machines to shape that puzzle or the puzzle pieces. And then in the manufacturing overhead, the machine maintenance and depreciation of the cutting machines take place. So after the puzzles go through the cutting process, they are fully assembled, they're packaged, and then they're stored in the finished goods inventory, ready for sale. So at each stage, Puzzle Masters carefully tracks and they assign the production costs to ensure accurate cost management across the entire production process. At any given time, some puzzles are in the assembly phase while others are in the cutting phase. Calculating the total cost of the puzzles becomes more complex when the units are at various stages of the production process, right? So let's look at this example here. Suppose the company's production costs incurred to make 50,000 puzzles and the cost per puzzle are as follows. So assembly, the total cost is $220,000. Cost per puzzle is $4.40. Cutting, the total cost is $45,000 and the cost per puzzle is 90 cents. So the total cost is $265,000 and the cost per puzzle is $5.30. That's when you add the assembly and cutting costs. So the total cost to produce 50,000 puzzles is the sum of the costs incurred for the two processes, which is $265,000. And the cost per puzzle is the total cost divided by the number of puzzles, or $5.30 when you add the cost per puzzle. So that's $265,000 divided by 50,000 puzzle, which will equal $5.30 per puzzle. Now, companies utilize process costing to calculate the cost per unit, which helps them manage expenses, set appropriate sales prices, and determine the account balances for work in process inventory, finished goods inventory, and cost of goods sold. Okay, here in Exhibit 3.3, comparison of cost flows, job order costing, and process costing. Here you see where they compare cost flows in a job order costing system for Smart Touch Learning. And then they have a process costing system for the puzzle company. So here you see in Smart Touch Learning, you have direct materials, direct labor, then manufacturing overhead. So you have 3 jobs here. So job 27 is in the work in process inventory. I'm just gonna say WIP, okay? Which means work in process inventory. So job 27 is in WIP, then it goes to finished goods inventory, then cost of goods sold. Job 28 is in WIP, and then it's in in finished goods inventory. And then you have job 29, which is in WIP. Okay? And here in panel B, you have the same accounts, but you have the work in process inventory assembly, whereas you have the WIP, which is in the cutting department, which goes to the finished goods inventory and to cost of goods sold. And this is the end of Learning Objective 3.1. Our next video will cover Learning Objective 3.2, whereas we calculate equivalent units of production for direct materials and conversion costs. So stay tuned for part 2. Thank you for watching, and please do not forget to click the like and subscribe button. And if you have any questions or comments, please leave them below and I will reply to you.